Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for people who on Section 8 and on any government.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So I'm on my way to 7K. Kindly subscribe and like the video. So in today's video, we'll be talking about a lot of people. They are in panic mode right now. They're crying on live streams, on TikTok. If you go to Twitter, Instagram streets, you see a lot of people crying, saying that they're going to lose their housing. We're talking about Section 8 by being getting cart, and people absolutely panicking. I've seen TikTok, Twitter trends, Instagram rants, and even people crying on Facebook Live. And honestly, I get it. We're not just talking about losing or cutting budget. We're talking about people losing their homes or their roof on their head. So I put the stitches together so that you watch. I'll be back to share my.
Oh my gosh, I feel so bad for people who on Section 8 and on any government assistance. Trump said no more. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy like I got kicked off of Section 8 2 years ago and just started paying regular rent. It's hard, but what about all these people who can barely pay this stuff? Project 25 calls for cuts for all government assistance programs, including SNAP, Medicaid, Section 8, housing assistance, VA benefits. And what's really breaking my heart, I don't care what nobody got to say. Mostly people who are on Section 8 is women with kids. It's about to be so many homeless people now, y'all. And not to mention, my cousin just got a letter from her landlord 2 days ago stating that he's selling his whole apartment complex because it's no more Section 8. You cannot get comfortable with anything that's dealing with government assistance. Like, they can throw you off at any given.
So you telling me you've been on Section 8 for 10 years and you ain't saved up no money? You working on Section 8, you getting food stamps on Section 8, you got a side hustle on Section 8, and you ain't saved up no money to get out, but you mad at the government for possibly taking away something that you had enough time to get your shit together and get out, but you got comfortable? All right, you must ain't never grew up in the hood where you had to wash your clothes in the sink and have to wring it out with your sister and brother and hang it up so it can dry, or use sugar on the cornflakes to turn your cornflakes to frosted flakes, or serve sandwiches. But never mind that. The whole point is, if you living on Section 8, then you know you're not living in no good community. You're not living in no good area. You living in a bad area, high crime rates, and you sit up there talking about you mad that the government gonna take it when you weren't even trying to get out the situation. You abused the situation, went to work, stacked your money up, went outside, partied, did all that, and then saved no money? And then turned your nose up to the people that was actually have real bills, $1,500, $1,600 rent, while you're renting $100. So again, to the black community, I love my people. I ride for my hood. I'm born and raised in Fifth Ward. I'm a product of my environment, but I want it better. My mama had 4 kids. I'm the oldest, and I was the first one to graduate from college, led by example. No matter where I came from, I never used that as a crutch. But I also knew growing up, that's not the life that we wanted. We settled for. I can't blame my mama. I can't blame my grandma, because, I mean, we could, but everybody they ain't had the same resources that we have. They ain't had the same resources that we have. I'm walking on the street right now while I own rental properties in my hood that I rent out. Don't ask people to sign no lease agreement, no nothing. I just look out for them and, hey, just pay your rent on time. That's it. But I ain't gonna get into that. The whole point is, y'all all in the comments, y'all acting like y'all know something. Blame you. Don't blame me. Don't blame the government. Don't blame nobody for your shortcomings. And oh yeah, by the way, do y'all know white folks get more of the government assistance than blacks? And I haven't seen nobody make that damn post or crying but us. Get y'all shit together. Meet me at the top, man.
I'm back. I found out something else. I don't know if y'all heard or not, but Trump is getting rid of that Section 8 and EBT for these people that don't want to get out here and go to work. Your time is up, baby. Y'all, I know most people like us really not feeling Trump, but I'm kind of feeling him on what he's saying about this. Now, how many of y'all have family members, friends, people you know that's been living off Section 8 for 20 years? They rent $3. They don't go to work. Not that they can't go to work. They don't want to go to work. Now, let me say this on the sidebar. They do have some people that need Section 8. Some people that, medically they can't go to work. Or, they just can't physically. I get it. I'm not talking to y'all. I'm talking to these ones that your mama been on Section 8 all her life, and she ripping and running and doing this and doing that, and then you seen she was on Section 8, paid $3 rent. So now you, as a young girl, because you done got pregnant and you got a baby, you go run out there and get on Section 8, and you ain't working, and you having child after child after child, and y'all all on Section 8 getting food stamps, $1,000 a month. And no, that's all about to stop. That's who I'm talking to. Okay? Trump said that's enough. So for us people that goes to work, that's working, he said you got to have at least 30 hours. Okay? 30 hours a week to qualify for the program. All right? So most of us that work on a regular basis, 30 hours ain't nothing to us. This is what we do. So guess what? We gonna be the ones walking around in the grocery store with the big baskets, because we deserve it. All these years, they've been letting people with no job. They walking around with 2-3 baskets full of groceries, and us hard-working people, we got a little handheld basket with 2-3 items in there, because that's all we have left out of our check. And they sitting around getting fat food, eating lobsters and shrimp and crabs and all this other good food, and we can't even eat that. And we the ones going to work. So I'm glad Trump didn't flip the switch, baby. So all y'all that's living it up right now, that's able-bodied to go to work, and you're choosing not to go to work, you better get ready. Because, baby, y'all finna get them notices. And them notices gonna come soon. And like he said, real quick. And those of us that go to work, we ought to be able to go and apply for some food stamps and see what it feel like. To be able to go in the line and slide a card with pride. Because it's not for the ones that don't have nothing. It's for the ones that's working to have something. It's our turn now, y'all. So I'm telling y'all right now, if you able to go to work, you better get out there and start filling out them applications. If you want to have a place to live. It's time to get up and stop being lazy. Because, baby, this is not the American way no more. Trump said no. And y'all can be mad all you want to. I told you, things are changing. You ain't gonna like it, but guess what? You got to go with it. So that's what I got for y'all today. No more Section 8 EBT for people that don't want to go to work. Y'all time is up.
To the bitch down at the government, how do y'all allow people to be on Section 8 for years, then run out of the funding for the shit? Now y'all got a group of people that y'all have allowed to do the bare minimum all their life. You just stop them from getting careers and all kind of bullshit just to qualify for these benefits from the state. Now y'all done ran out of funding for the shit. Where these people gonna go? What these people gonna do? Huh? That's why it should have been for people that was doing something. People who go to work, people who pay the bills, people who is actually getting up, going to do something for themselves. Those are the people that should be getting the help and the benefits. That way, when you lose it, you already know how to continue to get and work for money and know how to live and know how to survive and be able to live with the rest of society and not have to struggle. Now we got a whole big bulk of people that's about to fall.
I know you guys saw what Trump said about food stamps and all the government assistance, Section 8, and it's about time. And I'm not trying to bash on anyone that is on Section 8 or food stamps, because that's you, do your thing. But so many people milk it. Like, there's so many people that could actually use the help and they can't. because they work too much or whatever, they make too much. But how is that fair when you're literally just sitting home not working and you're getting all these benefits? Like, that's just not fair. And don't get me wrong, because I've been on food stamps before, and obviously I'm not on food stamps anymore. I was on it a couple years ago. My son's about 7, so I remember when he was born, I did qualify for WIC, food stamps and all that. But Section 8 and food stamps and all those benefits are not made to, like, for you to stay on them forever. Like, I saw a video on a woman that said she was on them since she was 19 and she's in her 30s. Like, girl, what do you mean? Like, go get a job and go provide for your 6 kids. Like, how are you gonna be on food stamps and rely on the government for like your entire life?
Supposedly, I don't know if this is true, I don't know if this is factual, but Section 8 will be cut come 2025 or later 2025. This is what I've seen on, I think it was on Facebook, and I didn't even go and fact check. But I want to address the comment that I seen, and it was like, this is good because people be on Section 8 and they abuse it. And it's like, how is this good? Whether a group of people are abusing a resource, if you take the whole resource away, for the people that's not abusing it, we don't have it. And I feel like that was always a problem with, Trump voters or people who didn't side with Kamala Harris, because they thought that they were just giving out, awards. Everybody was getting participation awards. No, they were giving out, resources for people who needed it. And it's because you fell through the loop of, freeloaders and stuff like that. That's just what happens when you have a public service or public resources. But when you take it away, now people are scrounging. And when people get in survival, when people do things that they would not normally do. So it puts you at a danger. So even if you're not a part of the Section 8 community, you get around somebody who need to feed their family and watch what they do and watch how they act and watch how people move. And I think that's what, Trump is kind of bargaining at. He's getting at, stir crazy. People become fearful for their lives. It's survival of the fittest. So certain, government assistance that's now being taken away is not an act of service. It's not, oh, now everybody's going to get up on their own 2 feet. No. People don't have it like that. It's not like everyone is not dealt the same card, so you're not going to be like putting everybody at the same starting line and then whatever. No, this is going to be crazy. I don't know if it's true that they're taking away Section 8, but that wasn't, that wasn't a really good comment. It was very ignorant because, like, what?
I'm a landlord, and I would never rent to a Section 8 tenant ever again. Every single Section 8 tenant that I've ever had has always been very respectful, hardworking, and they have always taken care of my properties. I've actually only had one Section 8 tenant that ruined my property, and her little girl burned my house down. The mother left the child home alone, and she tried to cook herself something to eat. There was a grease fire, and the entire house burned down. So other than that, I haven't had any other issues. All of the women that are on that program are delightful and easy to work with. The problem that I have with Section 8 is the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. DCA makes the housing voucher recipients recertify every single year. They want to look at their income and see how much they're making so they can determine if they're still eligible for the program or if they're going to have to start paying a portion of their rent on their own. And sometimes, in some cases, I've had tenants lose their income and then DCA will end up paying 100% for them, where in the past they only pay half of the rent for them. So now if the tenants don't turn in their recertification paperwork on time, DCA will terminate the lease and they will notify the landlord that the tenant didn't turn their paperwork in on time, and so starting the next month you will not receive rent. It's totally unfair to the landlord. And I had this happen to me last year where the tenant didn't do her paperwork on time and I didn't get rent for 2 months. Now, I'm a single woman. I'm not a big rich corporation, and I do have a commercial loan that I have to pay every single month. And so yes, I do need the income from that property so I can pay that loan as well as other expenses that I have. What happened last year is that she got all her paperwork turned in, and then I didn't get rent for 2 months, and then they gave me back pay, and then they resumed the regular monthly payments. So here we are, 1 year later, she didn't turn her paperwork in on time, and I'm back in the same situation again. It's annoying. And to be honest with you, it's a lot easier for me to deal with tenants that just pay their rent out of pocket, that just have their own job, their own income, and they just pay their rent, because if something goes wrong and they have to move out of the house, it's just easy for me to find another tenant and rent the house out to a regular person that is paying on their own than to try to go through the Section 8 approval process all over again. It's a turn off. And everything with Section 8 favors Section 8. It does not favor the landlord, and honestly it doesn't favor the tenant. And they're doing a disservice to people who have a housing voucher, because there are a lot of landlords that do not want to rent to tenants with a housing voucher. It is so hard for them to find a property, and a lot of times they want a house. And I live in the South, so a house is preferable here, not an apartment. And I see a lot of these women end up having to go and get a subsidized apartment because most of the investors around here that have homes like myself, they don't want to deal with Section 8. They don't want to make all the repairs. And these repairs are beyond what even I would do for my own home. Like one time I had a house that they said that the windows were too small, that a grown adult could not crawl through the window if there was a fire. And I ended up having to replace all the windows in the house. Now, actually, I didn't have to do it. I could have just told the tenant who wanted to rent from me no. But I actually ended up really liking her. I liked her kids and I wanted to put them in a nice property. So I replaced all the windows and I knew that it would add to the value of my property. And what do you know, that was the one who actually burned the house down. So, but when I got the insurance, it was way above what I would have gotten it if I would have sold it as is before the fire. So all in all, I came out ahead, but it's just a headache and it's something that I don't really want to deal with. And whenever you rent to a new tenant who is coming in with a voucher, they have to come out and do an inspection before the tenant can move in. And when they do the inspection, they give you a list of repairs that have to be made, and they can't even move in until those repairs are made. So if you choose to rent your property to a tenant who has a housing voucher, you have to wait to get an inspection, which could take maybe 1 to 2 weeks to have them come out. They do send you the inspection notes within like 1 day. You have to make all the repairs. You have to schedule for the inspector to come back out to the property and approve it. And then from the moment they move into the house, you don't even get rent for almost 60 days. So they give you, the tenant pays their own security deposit, and it takes DCA up to 2 months to actually give you your first 2 months of those rent payments. So you are putting, as a landlord, you're putting a lot of money out up front, and you're not getting any money in for months and months and months and months and months. And then if the tenant doesn't recertify on time, then they just totally stop paying the landlord rent. And you get nothing again until they catch everything, until they turn all that paperwork back in, and then DCA will pay you back rent. I don't want to deal with that. I just don't have the bandwidth, like financially and emotionally, to continue to go through this process over and over again. So I only have one tenant left who has a voucher, and she's been renting from me for 7 years, and I'm gonna let her stay, but whenever she decides to leave, I will absolutely never rent to another Section 8 tenant ever again. And I live in a military town, and I would much rather have an airman come in, because then I know what their BAH is. I know what the Air Force is paying on their behalf for rent. So it's just so much easier to rent to them and deal with them. And unfortunately, Section 8 is just taking something really good that could help people, and they're ruining it by being unfair to the landlords. And remember, all landlords are not corporations.
That's a video, guys. I'm just here also to share my true sense, like what I think about today's video. Okay, the cut of Section 8, because we know it's really affecting a lot of people. So let me tell you, if you're unfamiliar with what Section 8 is, let me give you a quick breakdown. Section 8 is also known as the Housing Choice Voucher Program. It runs by the USA Department of Housing and Development. It's a rental assistance program where the government pays a large portion of rent directly to the landlords, and the tenants pays the rest, usually a little bit. So the tenant is only responsible for about 30% of their income. This program supports low-income families, the elderly, and the people with disabilities, basically the people who need the most help. So for decades, Section 8 has been a lifetime. Talking about single moms with 2 jobs, seniors on social security, disabled folks who can't work without it. Many of these people would be homeless. And now there is a talk about the government not slashing funding or restructuring the program entirely. Some reports suggest that the rent assistance may no longer be as widespread. In some areas, landlords are already preparing to opt out of the program altogether. The panic is real in the street and it's justified. Imagine working minimum wage, paying for groceries, taking care of your kids, and now being told that, hey, we might not be help you with rent anymore. What are you supposed to do? And before someone in the comment section starts screaming, get a job, let's be clear. Most people on Section 8 do have jobs. Many have essential workers, home, healthy aides, childcare providers, grocery clerks, the same people we all depended on during the pandemic. The issue is not laziness, the issue is the cost of living rising every day. Wages are flatlined, some cities already having wait lists that are years longer. People apply and wait for 5 years, 10 years just for a chance not to be homeless. So when news hits that Section 8 is being reduced or maybe unavailable in certain areas, it's not just inconvenient, it's terrifying. TikTok creators are sharing stories of being given 30 days to move out. People are sleeping in cars, women with kids trying to figure out how to couch surface while still getting their kids to school. Let's talk about landlords for a second. There's been this ongoing debate about whether landlords should be forced to accept Section 8 tenants. Some states have anti-discrimination laws that say you can't turn someone away just because they're using a voucher, but in other places, landlords are booking out of the program altogether. Why? Because they claim that the process is too long, too much paperwork, too much red tape. But what that means in real life is that families are being rejected over and over again. And even if they have help to pay, okay, now let's address the mindset that's showing up in the comment section. The idea that free rent is over, people need to stop relying on the government. It's easy to say that when you have never had to choose feeding your kids or paying rent. It's easy to preach about self-sufficiency when you have general, wealthy, or a spouse who helps you pay bills or a job that pays more than survival wage. But for a huge chunk of Americans, especially single mothers, disabled ones, Section 8 is not just a handout, it's the only reason they are standing at this moment. It's ironic. The same people who complain about homelessness are the ones cheering on the removal of safety nets. You can't be against cities and also against rent assistance. Something gonna give you the you can't push people out of affordable housing and then get mad when they end up living in their cars. There is also a huge racial component here that no one wants to talk about. Black and brown communities are affected too much by cuts to housing programs. Generations of systematic inequity have already made it harder to build wealthy, buy homes, or get approved for traditional rentals. Okay, now with Section 8 at risk, we are looking at a possible surge in housing insecurity among minority populations that no family is going to out of this. This whole situation is really exposing how fragile the American safety net is. One policy change, one budget cut, and suddenly thousands maybe or millions of people are on the brink, and the government is acting like they're doing people a favor by cutting these freebies. Okay, but when the rent is $1,000 and you're making 1,600 a month, where exactly the wiggle room are you going to go? The numbers don't lie, the math doesn't math. Okay, so let's also talk about mental health for a moment. Being a housing insecure is one of the biggest sources of trauma. You don't sleep well, you can't focus, you always anxious, kids suffer, relationships suffer, your whole life is on pause because you are just trying to survive the next 30 days. Yeah, so in this, with the roaming cuts, and more people are going to feel that spirit. People don't just need shelter, they need stability, dignity, and a fighting chance. To be honest, this whole mess saying a lot about where we are and priorities as a society. Billions for wars, billions for battling out banks, but when it comes to making sure kids have a warm bed at night, suddenly we are broke. Suddenly it's not sustaining, and it's frustrating and heartbreaking all at once. So yeah, that's a video for today.